Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we continue our journey by looking at the Radeon HD 3870X2. Released in 2008 and with a price tag of $449 US, this card represents the most extreme offering from the Team Red at the time. As the name suggests, this beast of a card is essentially two of the HD 3870s glued together. Let's take a look at the card in the detail. The card is quite heavy, just over 1 kilogram, and comes with a blower type cooler. The unit I have must have come from a Dell machine, hence the metal backplate bracket is longer and has this weird handle. There are no changes to the card's display output. There's the 2x dual-link DVI and an S-video. The card requires one 8 and one 6 pin from your power supply to power on. Let's remove the backplate first. This serves more than just for aesthetics. It should help with the heat dissipation on those memory modules. Now this card comes equipped with 512 megabytes of GDDR3 memory for each of its GPU cores. Now that's a step down from a 3870 where a faster GDDR4 was used. Not entirely sure if this was a cost-saving measure. Next, removing the pair of the backplates, GPU fan header and also 2 screws from the brackets, we separate the board from the cooler. This card was holding quite firmly. This always makes me uneasy. And there it is. The card is separated from its cooler, and just take a look at this board. Wow, it's a shame, it's a real shame we don't get this craziness in modern day GPU. What's really interesting with cooler is the use of 2 different materials for heat sinks. As for the GPU that's closer to the fan, it's got the heatsink made out of aluminium, whereas the other one is made out of copper. Again, not sure if this was to save some money. Time for some good old isopropyl alcohol. Let's also clean and replace the old thermal paste. Two blobs of fresh MX5 should do the job, and we should be good to go and put this card back together. Now moving on to some actual benchmarks. And as ever, time to run heaven. There's a small update for the last card that we've tested. Be sure to watch the video. I've rerun the tests using more drastic settings. The HD 3870X2 with its 2 GPU cores actually performed worse than a single 3870. This is due to the poor support and not ideal scaling when using Crossfire. It's fair to say, when Crossfire works, it kicks ass, but sadly, There are not many games that do support this technology, and this is really making me very sad. Now in the graph we can see that a single HD 3870 achieved 89 points versus 74 of the X2, around 20% more, and what's more important, the point per watt value clearly showing the superior performance of the single card. With the X2, the total system power draw peaked at 270 watts. Well, I hope this gets more interesting as we test along. Stay tuned for more, and whilst you're at it, would you not mind hitting that like button and subscribing? It means a lot to me. Thank you. Jumping into games, let's first revisit Mafia 2, where we clearly see the crossfire working, averaging around 35 frames per second, which is nearly doubling on the 3870. I've still noticed an occasional stutter, but overall the game ran really smoothly. Sorry. Test Drive Unlimited 2, very much limited to about 5 frames per second, and some weird glitching as a bonus. Fingers crossed we can run this game at decent frame rate soon enough. But for now, this remains unplayable. Now, going into Fallout 3, wandering around Wasteland in ultra details, the card managed to average around 32 frames per second versus the 25 on a single 3870, which is a nice improvement, and also improvement on the minimum and 0.1 minimums too. I think it's a great result for this card. Returning into the Agroprom Underground section, S.T.A.L.K.E.R, the average of 104 frames per second is nearly doubling on the single card result. This is clearly showing how crossfire in games is done. This was absolutely smooth as a butter. And a quick stop into Half-Life 2. To my actual big disappointment, we've only managed 26 frames per second on average, which is one less than a HD 3870 achieved in last week's video. This is really making me sad. But let's see what the future testing brings with Half-Life 2. And for our final stop into the games today, a quick visit to Liberty City. GTA 4 results show some great gains, achieving about 47 frames per second on average. However, this comes at the cost of some weird glitching that's present when using Crossfire and playing the game. We shall return soon. Hopefully we can get some better results as we progress with the testing, but for now I feel this is definitely not really playable, and I would not recommend the 3870 X2 to enjoy some GTA 4. So, a conclusion time. What do we actually think of the dual GPU beast? Well, it's definitely an interesting card, especially in times where GPU manufacturers don't even allow for a SLI between two new cards. The HD 3870 X2 clearly shows that it comes from a different era. This card ultimately relies on the implementation of Crossfire in games, and as we saw it in the benchmarks earlier, it's often not really good or worth it, or worse. Now, I got this marvel of a card on a famous auction site for roughly about £25. It's a nice addition to my collection. Did you ever own one? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you all in the next one.